from 1380 The Fan and 100.9, the voice of high school football in Fort Wayne and across Northeast Indiana, Brett Rump joining us on the Upon Further Review podcast. Brett, good to be with you again another week and another big night of high school football last Friday to kind of see where these teams are halfway through the season.
Yeah, I mean, we should have a pretty good idea of where everybody's at now. We say it takes about 3 weeks to really figure out, what we may have missed in the preseason or some new names that are going to have big impacts. And I think we've now kind of seen where everybody is at. And I think all of the chips are kind of falling into place. Before the season, we kind of believed that it was Carroll and Snyder that were the two teams that were going to battle in the SAC. And look at the top of the conference. There's Carroll, there's Snyder. Carroll got the head-to-head win. And so, they've got that advantage, the 1-game lead, which is essentially a 2-game lead. But I don't think we're surprised by the two teams at the top. Northside was a team we thought could shake things up a little bit. I don't know if we thought they were going to win the conference, but we certainly thought they were as dangerous as they've been in some time. Homestead kind of rebuilding a little bit. They lost all those receivers from a year ago. I think that's kind of hurt them. Dwenger, I think we had the biggest question marks about coming into the season. And I think the Saints have actually performed really well. Huge win over Homestead. I think last week getting behind didn't help them. And then getting behind and having to bring in a backup quarterback who's only a sophomore hurt them even more. And so, you can kind of put that score and file it away because 31-0 with the situation that they faced, it was just too much of a challenge for that football team.
Yeah, it was a tough night for the Saints. And, looking at it where we're at now, talking about midway points and stuff like this. Now let's peek over. I know we've been concentrating on the SAC, but this week we get to head up north to Kendallville for the NE8. And we're going to see a Norwell team that we got to see last year in this game when East Noble was on a run and they went down south there to Norwell, and Norwell took it to them. And now, we were impressed by that game just because we knew that Norwell was awful young and they were a dynamite team then. So what's kind of your thoughts heading into this weekend, now, heading up, and it's now the roles being reversed. Now you got, the hunted being the hunted, so to speak. And we're going to have Coach Gerber on here in a few minutes. So we'll be anxious to hear what he has to say.
I will just tell you that this prey, if it's hunter and hunted, this prey is a lot more scary than the prey that we saw last year. And that's nothing against East Noble, but they had some vulnerabilities last year. But this Norwell team, they've outscored their opponents so far this year 198-14. So, they come at you offensively. Their defense has been outstanding. And, I was just thinking to myself before the show, who's been the more dominant team in their respective conference? Adams Central in the ACAC or what Norwell's done so far in the Northeast 8? Carroll's had a couple of close tests, but so far it doesn't even look like Adams Central or Norwell even has a challenger. Now, Columbia City's been good, and you look at them right now at 3-0. But we've seen Columbia City in that spot many, many times before. So, their schedule, the front part is much easier. They've got the gauntlet coming up with the Norwell, Leo, East Noble, New Haven run to end the season. And in years past, that's been kind of the test for Columbia City. They've had trouble with that run. So when you see them at 3-0, it's a different 3-0 than what you see with Norwell's 3-0. And, coming up this week, let's put it this way. When you take on Norwell or Adams Central, you've got to hope they have an off night, and you've got to play the best football you've probably played in your career and have some kind of a career night. And at
Yeah.
that point, it gives you a chance. I'm not saying you'll even win the game, but you'll at least have a chance. That's how good Norwell is. I mean, experience, check, speed, check. They've shown that when they have to throw the football, they can throw it. It's certainly not their strength, but they're able to. If you're going to put 8 or 9 in the box, they'll pop it right over your head. I mean, it's hard to identify a weakness with this football team.
Yeah, they're rolling on all cylinders, no question. And I was trying to compare them. I compare them a little bit to Norwell's or Carroll's defense, because last year we were thoroughly impressed with the defense, especially what they did against East Noble, and it's carried forward. And I think they play complementary football, which is really good when you're a team like them. They rely on defense to gain the field position for them or the special teams, and then give the offense the shortest field as they possibly can have. And that favors any offense when you got a shorter field. And I think that's what they did last year to East Noble. They got a short field a couple times, and they were able to take care of put points on the board. So I know they're excited down there in Nightland to, keep rolling. And we talk about Columbia City a little bit being a little bit more quiet this year. I think they're doing it quietly over there at the stadium and all that's on Highway 9. I believe they have New Haven this week, so I think they get their first big test. And I was kind of surprised a little bit how well Norwell handled New Haven's speed. And really pulled away from them.
Yeah, that was one of the tests I thought would be interesting, because I thought last week you were going to see Norwell face athletes like they hadn't seen so far this year. And I thought, that caused them a little bit of trouble last year in the postseason run. Brebeuf, with their athleticism, their physicality, I thought it might cause a little bit of a problem, but yeah, the problem was solved rather easily for Norwell, like 59-7 easily. So it's just a machine right now at Norwell. Like I said, I don't know what you can find in Norwell that you think is the chink in their armor, because they are so good everywhere you look. I mean, they've got an anchor in the offensive line with good complementary pieces. So they've got people they can trust to run behind. They've got 2 or 3 running backs that all can carry the football. They've got an experienced quarterback. They've got playmakers at all levels of their defense. I mean, that is just a complete football team. And, for East Noble, they're young, and this is the week they need to grow up, because if they don't age a lot in this next week getting prepared for Norwell, we could have a pretty one-sided game come Friday night in East Noble.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be a pretty good crowd on hand, that's for sure, up in Kendallville. But we'll be a chance to be up there at 6:00, have the pregame show. Of course, all the 7 hours of coverage start at 4 in the afternoon with the Sports Rush, and then you hand it off to us at 6 p.m. so you can get on your helicopter and get up to Kendallville while me and Dude rough it in our cars. But we'll have that all at 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM, and then the kickoff at 7 p.m. with myself and, of course, the voice of Fort Wayne, Mr. Brett Rump. And we'll have fun doing it like we always do, and it should be a good game. I really do think this would be a good ball game.
I think regardless of what type of outcome we have in the game, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I think you're going to see a lot of energy. I think these kids know what's at stake. I mean, for East Noble, right, they can really make a statement with a win over a team as good as Norwell. For Norwell, they remember exactly that game you brought up. I'm sure, Shannon. They know exactly what happened last year, and they probably know that East Noble has circled this one on their schedule, having that chance at some redemption. It's hard to say it's revenge because it's the next year and it's a new class and there's new players, but teams don't forget. Coaches don't forget. And so it'll be a lot of fun this week up there in Kendallville.
Well, thanks for coming on again. We'll catch you up there on Friday night and talk to you during the week.
All right. Thanks, guys.